The rocking sounds. Married for 16 years, wife barely drank until the last 6. When she gets really drunk, she turns into a gremlin, completely out of control. This has happened 4 to 5 times, and always with me, until recently. Such a cliché situation. She was out with a female and male coworker on an overseas work trip. Both females are 40, the male was an intern on the project, 24. They all got completely wasted, went back to the 24-year-old's temporary flat to watch a movie. My wife said that her lost complete control and started kissing this guy and had a session for about 20 to 30 minutes in another room. At which point her female coworker passed out on the couch, woke up and started calling my wife's name. My wife said the two of them, the females, got out of their STD. As my wife sobered up, she realized what she had done, was completely remorseful, sad, almost suicidal. She is devastated and claims she barely had any control. I asked her if they had unprotected time, and she wasn't sure. She hasn't communicated with him since. She did get tested for STD when I asked. That was clean. She thought she was safe because when they went out, they were celebrating the project. She had no attraction to him and thought he was gay. She claims it was the only time this has happened and will do anything to stay in the marriage. It's been 2 months since she told me and I'm still obviously struggling with it. We are going to start counseling this week. I will always love her but am completely gutted. We have 2 kids. While she didn't go out seeking an affair, cheating is cheating, and from what I read, drinking and not understanding your boundaries and situation are not an excuse. Lastly, she was diagnosed with MS about a year ago and started on meds. Her personality has not changed at all, so I don't think the meds are a factor. Looking for feedback from a drunk encounter and general advice about staying in a marriage and forgiving. All I have is what she tells me. We've had a very open and honest relationship until then. She was extremely remorseful. I'm not a fool either and I'm not going to make any rash decisions. I'm going to give it a year, go to counseling with her and see if we can get through this. If not, I'm going to walk away. My emotions are still sore, but I was livid for a month. It's been 2 months since the cheating now and I am finally able to face it without having to leave the house and walk. Everything I read said don't make decisions when feeling red, and I believe that to be good advice. Many people online are of the mentality, screw that and get a divorce ASAP. I'm not sure that is best. Some people have huge egos and can't deal with things. I'm trying to approach this as rationally as I can. We have 2 kids and they need to be considered. She confessed 2 days later when we returned home from the work trip. Is cheating a deal breaker for me? When we got married, I thought it would be. Now with kids and life, maybe not. Like I said, I'm giving it a year, not making any rash decisions, and we'll see how I feel then. I don't think I am immediately going to file for a divorce, but I certainly am keeping that option open. As for being regretful, she has said she will never do it again, and said she'll do anything. She offered to move in with her mom or sister while we work it through. As for the ex herself, I understand that it could be manipulation. She said she felt that way the 24 to 48 hours after but didn't have a plan aside from maybe jumping off a bridge. She knows divorce is on the table. She clearly has issues that come out when drunk that needs to be explored through counseling. In a way I feel sorry for her as a person. She is now a cheater, an adulterer. I've known her for 20 years and I know this is eating her. But at the end of the day, she cheated on me, threw our marriage, family, her career and everything into jeopardy. I've never met either the or the female. It was guilt and regret and she normally have a very strong sense of right and wrong. She also loves her wife, mother role. The other F in her finished the work trip, which was another 2 days. Then my wife came home and told me. I knew something was up because she texted me the day after saying she was sad and needed my help. I thought for a brief moment it might be cheating, but also thought it could be an MS flare-up. I don't think it has gotten around the workplace. Certainly, my wife isn't going to say anything and the other F is a very high-level person, as is my wife. The was an intern and went back to grad school. I haven't contacted either although my wife offered for me to talk with the other female which I think I will after be getting feedback here. I've never caught my wife lying. She tells me everything, always has, which is why I didn't validate the story. But I will now. She had only been with 2 people in her life, now 3. I was a crazy man before we got married but have been faithful. My number is much greater than hers. She did say, it was a good thing I didn't drink in college. So, this is something that I am going to ask her. Do you need to sow your wild oats? And if so, I'm out. I didn't sign up for that. We start therapy tomorrow, but I'm freaking out because she has a long 3-week work trip across 2 continents in October, then I travel in November. We have set expectations, phone calls every night, only 1 drink, etc. This work trip will be a test. If she fails, then I'm out. He was an intern and is out of the job now. She continues to lead a large team. The only other person that knows is the other female. She clearly has a problem and needs to face it. As for the travel and a new job, her job provides the health care and having MS is a big thing. We've both traveled for work our entire careers and this has never been an issue. I am approaching this as starting over. The marriage we had is in the past and if we want a new one, then we can go down that path. I understand I hold all the cards. In my mind I've already decided to give it a year and see how I feel and 2, How has she responded? You ask very valid questions, and I will ask her some of those as well as many others. My parents got divorced and it was brutal, and I'd feel bad for the kids. I'd even be willing to gut it out for a few years just for them. Anyway, as for my wife, she did spend the weekend with her mom and sister, celebrating a close family friend's 50th year of being a minister. She said it was good for her soul and that she needed it. Before we went to the counselor yesterday, I went off on her and wasn't nice. I wasn't calling her names but just kind of lost it. So, we went to the counselor under that backdrop. At the counselor, 1 hour turned into over 2. As I mentioned, we've been married 16 years, 2 kids. We both travel extensively for work. We both have great careers and have lived all over the world. We've always had open and honest communication with each other and never strayed until she did 2 months ago. I've known her for almost 25 years and she is honest to a fault. She owns it and is remorseful. During counseling, she was nearly inconsolable. After she explained the cheating, for the first time I really felt her pain. She obviously made a horrible mistake and hurt herself, her marriage, and her husband. Apologizing to me for the pain she has caused and also seeking forgiveness and trying to move on. She agreed to everything asked and the counselor backed me up and said that is the least she could do. The counselor then said that my wife needed to forgive herself. This doesn't mean that what she did okay, and it certainly isn't a license to do it again. But she needs to move and find closure. We also talked about what the betrayed spouse goes through, the ups and downs, the pain, and how to deal with it. If we are going to give the marriage a chance, she said I'd need to stop punishing my wife as that won't help anyone. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to give it a year and see if things improve. The is not working on the project anymore and I'm going to meet up with the this week or next. I'm not going to throw away 16 years of marriage for one mistake, but if it happens again, I will walk away as I didn't sign up for that. As the saying goes, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm still committed to giving it a year since D-Day before making any decisions. 10 months to go. The wife has been doing everything she said, but the trust will take a long time to earn back. I have no illusions about any of it. Sometimes I just want to file for divorce. Other times I think about it and can see myself coming to terms and basically starting the marriage over. I know I can walk away. I'm certainly a marketable person, no worries there. She is also up and down. She is spending the weekend with family again, which she needs. When I'm feeling crappy, I want to be alone. She needs to feel supported and I'm not at a place where I can provide that. We talked on the phone for a while tonight and she has been worried about my well-being. Kids are with me. We go back to the therapist on Tuesday. She did offer anything. I've thought about it and we've talked about it, but I didn't demand it. Her last trip was a one-day work trip then with her aunts and she followed all protocol exactly. Obviously, we are both heightened and aware right now and if she slips up again, I'm out. Heck, I could slip up. Not that I'm going to have a revenge one-nightery. We went to the therapist again today, checked in and it went well. She expressed that she knew how much damage she caused to me, our relationship, and herself. We are in a better place today than yesterday and it continues. She knows that I'm giving things a year and I said that I've lost weight in case I need to make myself available again. We had a good laugh about that. It comes down to whether or not we want to recommit ourselves to the marriage. 1 year and I will decide for sure. Anger is getting better, sadness creeps in, and yesterday I just had one of those moments of disbelief that really happened. Therapist again next week. I took wife to airport today. She is away for a 2-day meeting and I feel much less anxious than I did last week. She gave me the entire play-by-play of the meetings and when she is going to check in, upon landing, before bed, name of hotel, people she is with, etc. Of course, trust is going to be a huge issue and has to be earned back. She says she is committed to gaining my trust back. She wants to earn it back. My trump card is that she would be completely destroyed if she does it again. She would lose me, her kids, her job, everything. She understands how reckless, stupid, and life-limiting it was. But she claims she loves me and wants to continue the marriage. I'm giving her a year. A 40-year-old female, recently diagnosed with a disease, can be reckless. She understands it, as do I. She can't keep a secret. She is an open book. I've known her for 20 years. Today was fine. We have a 1-year lease on the house we are in. I'm not renewing. I'm not committing to anything beyond 10 months. I will give therapy a go. I will try to not be so angry, which is working. The sadness comes and goes and the idea we'd be faithful forever is gone. The fact that she'd do it hurts still. That will never go away completely. If that pain doesn't get better in the next year, then I am for sure gone. I can't live with that feeling and in proximity with someone that triggers that feeling. I will never know if she cheats again and doesn't tell me. I've known her for 20 years and know she wouldn't be able to keep it a secret. It will ruin her and slowly eat her alive. Was she unfaithful? Yes. Is she owning it? So far, she is an open book. I still love her, but of course it will always hurt. Do I have the capacity and desire to stay in the marriage? Maybe. Much of what I read said don't make rash decisions, which seems like good advice. Usually emotionally charged decisions aren't the right ones. I'm going to be rational and thoughtful. Let the dust settle, take everyone's temperature and then decide what to do. Someone brought up a good point. We are going to be hyper-vigilant right now. What happens when, if things relax? She said it won't happen again, but of course the proper comeback is I didn't think it would happen once. I am feeling better, going to spend time with my family, sadly a funeral, in a few weeks without her. Then I have a bunch of work trips in October and November. It will be interesting to see how I feel when I'm traveling on my own for the first time since she told me. I'm doing okay. The other worker couldn't meet, but we did reschedule. Thanks for all the posts and considerations. As for my wife, how can you completely trust again? In life there are no guarantees. We've just spent the weekend together with our kids and she said I haven't been as close as usual, but she understands. One day at a time, one day at a time. As for the posters about her being a repeat offender or hiding things from me, she has never hidden anything from me in the 20 years I've known her and is an open book. But that certainly doesn't excuse what she did, but I'm confident she only did this once. She is going to start seeing a therapist on her own to really understand what is going on. Maybe something comes out of it, maybe nothing. She scared herself by her actions. Just explaining how I see things and live my life. I'm not a vengeful person and I'm not weak. Weak would be to file for a divorce and even before that, go out and start sleeping with other people just because. I did that in college. This is certainly not an easy road and I don't know where it leads, but life is a crazy adventure full of pain and love. If after the next 10 months I feel committed and satisfied with where we are, then yes. My wife already has said she wants to stay in the marriage and in remorseful and all that. Time will tell. She is on probation now and even if we stay together after the year, if it happens again, I'm out. Once is forgivable, twice might also be forgivable, but I wouldn't stay in the marriage for sure. She is showing that she wants to stay in the marriage and doesn't want to repeat what happened. She still claims she feels terrible about it and shocked and scared herself and that she hurt herself as well. Clearly, it's not easy but so far it is going okay. I can't say I'm thrilled or super excited to be in the marriage right now but I'm committed to the 1-year plan I've mentioned. Some days are great, other awful. Just trying to move on. I can feel my own health suffering from the pain and hurt and I don't like that. If we stay married or not, I don't want this to take years off my life. I've never considered straying until she did. In fact, I was at a celebration of life, wearing my wedding ring just 2 days ago and the caterer hit on me. I told her I didn't live in that city but she said that didn't matter and gave me her card and told me I was a nice dresser, looked good, blah blah blah. 2 things, I'm not telling you this to blow my horn. I've been hit on before while married and was always completely turned off because I was committed to someone else. I was committed on a deep level and could count on that trust and connection even when the going would get rough. But now since those foundations are completely shaken, the temptation for me was real and I kind of felt like I was justified. That scared me for many different reasons. I didn't follow through, also for many reasons, but mainly because I personally don't want to have to wear the badge of adulterer for the rest of my life. As for my marriage, only time will tell if it works out. So, ask yourself, is that extra glass of wine worth it? We are both traveling right now and we talked for about an hour tonight about everything. She isn't drinking at all and asked if I was planning to trade her in. I honestly said I don't know yet. She seems committed to the marriage, and it fits all of the profiles of a one-off. She never intended to do it. Consciously choosing to have an affair or affairs over time is one thing, losing control and forgetting boundaries is another in terms of intent. But it still really hurts no matter what and destroys trust and may destroy the marriage. What other penalties should I impose? I have threatened divorce after a year and did tell her about getting hit on and how different it felt now that she has cheated. We haven't told the families or our kids and I know that would completely destroy her and I told the keys to this obviously. Alternatively, I don't think I want to be with her if she is only staying with me out of this fear. That isn't healthy either and frankly I wouldn't want that. Or am I off base in that thinking? For me it comes down to, do we still love each other and can we get past this? So far, the answers are yes and maybe. So, for now, she is going to a therapist and we are also going together. Our next joint session is next week. Trying to rebuild trust and figuring out if this love thing with her can continue are the next steps. If the trust can't be rebuilt and the love wanes, it is over. I'm just trying to be an adult about this. I was in 8th grade at one point as well. Like I said, I've thought all of those things and more, thought about this from every vantage point, struggle with getting images out of my head, etc. I'm not scared of losing her. More scared of getting divorced as my parents had a super ugly one and they never recovered. But when I think rationally about it, I am far more grounded than my parents and can deal. I don't like the failure that divorce entails. They don't work together, not even on the same continent or for the same company. Yes, she acted like a total moron. Insert just about any word. What offends me isn't the harsh language. What does bother me is that someone is here looking for help or support and gets strange feedback that really isn't helpful. As for the career risk, personal risk to her, that is real and a huge concern for me as well. I think both of them will gain nothing from talking about it and frankly will risk far more, meaning they both have a lot to lose, including the OM, but clearly my wife has more to lose given her senior role. Morally obviously it is disgraceful and disgusting and wrong on so many levels. I have commented on here before that money is not a factor. We are both high-income earners. In fact, I earn more than she does, but her job has medical insurance and she has MS. That is why I wouldn't want her to leave her job, even if I stay or go. As for respect and all that, those are very valid questions. I respect myself and right now don't have a lot of respect for her. I don't see her as I used to see her, clearly. Her flaws are huge and staring me in the face. Does that mean I should just walk away? I'm going to say this again. I'm going to wait for the emotions to calm down and give the marriage another 8 months. That will be 1 year from D-Day. If I don't feel any respect, she hasn't done everything to earn my trust back, done everything in her power to make sure it doesn't happen again, then yes, maybe I'll divorce. Drifting brings up good point about looking at myself. I wasn't always the best husband. We let our relationship go a bit and focused on our careers, kids, etc. That does not excuse what she did, but if I chose reconciliation, all of these things will need to be considered. I understand she already crap on the wonderful gift I have given her, and loving someone that cheated tests the boundaries of a person's capability to love. I get that, but I certainly don't see it as weakness if I decide to stay. So, go ahead and throw more names my way, I can handle it. Some people here are so obviously bitter and angry. Misery loves company and they are looking for it. I'm trying to focus on the positives, if I can find any. I've already thought all of the negative crap possible about my wife. I am trying to see if I can build respect for her again, trust her again. Why do I need to have more crap thrown at her, at me, at my marriage while I'm trying to figure this out? Harsh is okay, but posting here to mask your own problems isn't cool. The hurt and resentment is palpable in some posts. Being harsh, honest and authentic is fine and should be encouraged. Talking about the raw emotions of cheating and infidelity is good. Name-calling and using slang words to degrade people isn't cool no matter what they have done. I'm not going to go down to Buffalo Wild Wings, pound some beers and get screwed and hit on the waitress and feel sorry for myself. Update on me. All is going okay. I'm traveling now, back together on set for a few days, then I'm off again for several more days. I get mixed emotions when I'm away, feel myself losing interest, feel myself now thinking about wandering, and that never happened before. Always thinking that even if she is remorseful and super sorry blah blah blah, I still say to myself, she let herself get wasted. She decided to throw our marriage on the ground and stomp on it, treat it like crap. Divorce is a real option. Maybe that's the path, still sorting this out. I've been taking care of myself, my work and my kids. My relationship with the wife is still up and down. She is still committed to doing everything and anything to stay in the marriage, and she is earnest in her efforts. I met the other female last night and her take was slightly different, but not inconsistent, and she was very concerned with my well-being. Kept asking how I am doing and that I should take time for myself. It felt like she had been through it herself. She offered to meet and talk with me anytime, which was great. It was hard to hear it all again, brought up crappy feelings again that had started to go away. But reading on here, this will certainly take a long time and isn't something that ever goes away. Wife does ask occasionally about our future, usually in a joking, but real way. I went for a long run the other day and she said, I thought you ran away. And I said, not yet. I am in a much better place than I was. It has been 6 months. She is doing all the right things, owning it, and is still completely embarrassed and ashamed. About 50-50 at this point if I'm going to stick around, but then I was looking at apartments for rent last week. I think about strength and vulnerability all the time. It takes almost inhuman strength to deal with this and continue on and to make yourself vulnerable again to the same person that caused so much pain. There are no guarantees in life. I also think about, do I want to be with someone capable of this kind of behavior? Was it truly a one-off major screw-up that really was the result of poor boundaries and expectations? Anyway, life is all about risk. A few months later, I've decided to remain in the marriage and give it a go. She is completely committed and continues to do anything to keep the marriage intact and is working hard on herself. She does not like to talk about that night and she feels disgusting and starts to cry when I bring it up, and she isn't faking that. I've accepted it and forgiven her and am in a much better place. There will always be two roads in examining myself, my life. The commitments I've made as a man, husband and father are real to me. She is the one that broke the marriage and I could have walked away. It would have completely destroyed her. And I've said it before, she is the adulterer and has to live with that, and I know it pains her. If our kids found out, that would also destroy her. It takes a big heart to try and find love again for someone who did something horrible, and I'm going to give it a try. It is also almost impossible to be empathetic, but that is what it will take at some point. Some will say, be a man and walk away with your dignity. I get that and I can see that path sometimes, but that also comes with bitterness, shame, pride and lots of other crap that don't lead to long-term happiness. Some will say, be a man and fight for yourself and your marriage. The idea of divorce is also real and doesn't feel like it would be that catastrophic if that still comes. My parents got divorced when I was young and I always thought, what a failure I would be if I did get divorced. Not so much anymore. Just want to give an update. Still, lots of ups and downs, but things are on the right track. I feel great and understand that I am responsible for my own happiness. She continues to do anything and completely owns what she did. As I mentioned before, I can see myself happy with or without her and committed to trying to build a better, stronger marriage. If it works, great. If not, so be it. I will go all in though and leave nothing back. Life is short for sure. Lastly, when I'm running, I come back to the old saying. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Today for some reason is not so good. I understand that I control my emotions, but sometimes it just comes out of nowhere and the pain and anger come back strongly. Life goes on. Almost 9 months since D-Day. Another half a year later. My life, yes, my life, it is getting better. I've been working on myself and my new perspective on the marriage. It has been a year since D-Day for me and I've decided to stay. My wife completely owns what she did and we talk about it every few weeks or so. Her pain is real and she understands the gift she is receiving by me staying. Not that I'm going to hold that over her because that is not healthy either. We completely reset the relationship and talked about all options: divorce, separation, staying together. Staying is certainly not easy. In fact, I usually think leaving and getting a divorce would be the easy thing to do. What I've been struggling with for the past year. I will always love her, but the question of whether or not I stay in the marriage comes up in my mind from time to time. When I was a young man, I told myself I'd have zero tolerance for infidelity. Stupidly, after my parents went through a nasty divorce, I told myself I'd never get divorced because I still see the bitterness and pain. Clearly, I'd have to violate one of these. At the end of the day, it's about being resilient and strong individually and choosing to get past the pain, bitterness, and resentment and grow from it. I've read quite a bit in the past year, one of my favorite relevant stories. It went something like this. Therapist, what is the problem? 60-year-old man, my wife cheated and I'm bitter and can't find love again. She is an evil person and ruined my life. We are divorced. Therapist, sorry to hear that. How long ago did this happen? 60-year-old man, when I was 31. That wasn't going to be me. This wasn't going to define me or ruin my life. That also didn't mean divorce wasn't an option, and if it was, it would have been from a healthy perspective, not out of bitterness and pain. Another year later, we are still together, although at this point almost in limbo. One kid in college and another in high school, so I feel like I can move on now with less damage to the kids. It has been 20 to 21 months. Is that enough time? Not yet for me, clearly. My feelings for her will never be the same. I've come to terms with that, and part of me some days does say, boom, bang, done, it is. But I'm not there yet either. I can't make this stuff up. She is away on a work trip, flying back now. She called last night from a friend's house and was hammered. Spoke with her today and she said, I called you last night. I don't remember. My comment, OP decided to do nothing for his wife's action. He can say whatever he wants, but he just gave her a free pass. It is what it is. Just do not complain if she does it again. You chose this path.